Hello everybody, my name is Nick and I am your instructor here over this course that I've titled Contextualizing Bitcoin, and I am going to just go ahead and apologize right now for how rough my handwriting is. Not only do I write like a little kid, I'm also using this new sketch pad and I'm not super good at it yet, so hopefully as the course continues on, my handwriting will get better and better. I am assuming that most of you have at least heard of Bitcoin. Maybe you don't know what it is. Maybe you've seen the news station that you watch mention it, or maybe you've seen it mentioned in the newspaper. And I know it's been featured in Forbes and Time Magazine and a lot of the business shows that get aired on television, the investment programs, and a lot of hedge fund managers are talking about Bitcoin. And a lot of large companies like Samsung are including cryptocurrency wallets on their new phones, pre-installed. Right? There's a huge movement taking place right now that is reflecting the adoption of something that we refer to as cryptocurrency. And in particular, Bitcoin. Bitcoin was kind of like the first major cryptocurrency to bust through the doors and to become intrinsically valuable. And we'll talk more about value down the road, but just for starters, just again, for context's sake, because that's what I'm interested in. This course is referred to as Contextualizing Bitcoin. Here's something pretty darn fascinating. Bitcoin started off trading, I believe, in 2010 or maybe the end of 2009, and this is supposed to be a zero. In US dollars, it started off at a penny, at 0.01 cents. All right, that was the low. That's where it started. At the end of 2017, so just 7 years later of trading, Bitcoin hit 20,000 US dollars per coin. That means each coin went from 1 penny each up to $20,000. I got into cryptocurrency right as Bitcoin was hitting, I think it was just under $1,000. I at the time was trading some small cap commodity stocks in the U.S. equities market, and I first heard a hedge fund manager talk about Bitcoin and how he believed it was going to $100,000 within the next 6-7 years, and I thought to myself, no way, man, not a chance. This is insanity. And I looked it up, and I saw that Bitcoin was trading under $1,000, and I thought, this guy's nuts. I don't know who trusts their money with this guy to invest it on their behalf, but not me. No way. And then I heard, a couple weeks later, I heard another gentleman mention Bitcoin, and he started talking about cryptocurrencies and how he thought that they could really shake up the fiat market, the currency trading market, and the forex market, and I thought to myself, I don't have any intention or any plan to get into these things called Bitcoin. I don't know what they are. They seem kind of crazy, seem a little bit too techy for me. Not my thing. And I started doing some research. I was actually around. I watched Bitcoin skyrocket. My wife and I were out to eat with our kids, having pizza the night we watched Bitcoin hit $20,000. And it was absolutely insane. And the reality is, most of us, maybe you don't know that Bitcoin went from 1 cent to $20,000. Maybe you've heard some of the hysteria of the end of the bull market in 2017 and 18. And even other altcoins. I know like the altcoin XRP went from, I think it was 0.005 cents, so half of a cent, all the way up to $3.80 on some exchanges. And I believe the total return as a percentage within 9 months was like 46,000% in 9 months. So if I've done my math right, had you put in $1,000 into XRP at the beginning of 2017, you would have ended up towards the end of the year, again, had you bought the bottom and sold the top, which doesn't happen, but had you done it perfectly, you would have walked away with several $100,000 from just having $1,000 in it. Now, my main focus isn't here just to talk about the money. As exciting as it is to have ridden Bitcoin from 1 cent to $20,000, I'm more interested in talking and providing context as to why I want to talk about why Bitcoin has seen such a massive price appreciation over the last, 7 to 10 trading years, whatever the exact amount is. And so here's a couple things, just kind of as introductory remarks. I don't know what your knowledge of Bitcoin is, and that's okay. Most of the people that I talk to day to day about Bitcoin have very little understanding about what it is or what it does, or they don't understand, who the company Bitcoin is. By the way, there is no company Bitcoin. They don't know who the Bitcoin CEO is. It's kind of a silly, goofy joke that's not funny anymore. But a lot of people are sitting here, and we're starting to hear about Bitcoin in the news, and it's becoming more mainstream. We're hearing investors talk about it, and people like Warren Buffett mentioning it, and Charlie Munger, and all these people coming out saying Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. But there's still so many things that need to be explained to provide context to how Bitcoin could go from 1 cent to $20,000. So that's what I want to do. I want to spend the rest of this course talking about and providing context for why I think Bitcoin is an incredibly valuable asset. And I don't mean valuable just in terms of saying what its actual numeric US dollar value is. I just mean even just as a platform for moving money. For somebody like me to be able to move money, and I'll provide examples down the road. But my goal is to be as simple as possible. I myself, I'm not a very techie guy. I'm not a programmer. I am not a coder. I've done a fair amount of research trying to understand how all of it works. There is just still a lot, even 3 years in, where I just have so many questions. But I've also found a lot of answers. And I think those answers, just in talking with friends, family, employees of mine, being able to sit down and explain it in a coherent, sensible way to provide some context as to why Bitcoin has become such a very, very popular idea, and for the future, why I think Bitcoin is going to see some serious mass adoption here over the next several years. So if you're the type who are thinking, oh man, I hope this guy's not going to get into some crazy elaborate coding session on how a blockchain works, don't have any fear. That's not my style. What I want to do is take several different ideas and explain them in a very, very simple way, in a way that I've come to understand them. I'm sitting here, I have my wife and I have 4 kids, and I'm explaining these concepts to my oldest, who's going on 8 years old right now. And there are things that I think he's understanding. So that's my goal. Be real simple, be real straightforward, and like I said, provide context as to why Bitcoin has absolutely exploded in value over the last 10 years. And I think over the next 10 years in the future, we'll continue to see a huge rise in adoption. And I think this $20,000, call me crazy, but I don't think that's that high of a number. And I think we'll see why down the road. I hope that you and I can sit down here together through the remainder of this course and pretend like we're sitting down, having a cup of coffee, eating breakfast, having lunch, hanging out, just sitting back, having a good old time. And so one thought that I've got for you is grab a piece of paper, grab a pen or a pencil, whatever you're comfortable with writing, or a notepad, or your tablet, or your computer, whatever you got. And as questions arise, write them down, and hopefully either I'll answer them as time goes on, or maybe it'll be a place for you to sit down and do more research yourself. Because I know I still have 1,000 questions. The cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and blockchain space, people refer to it all the time as a giant rabbit hole, because that's exactly what it is. When you answer one question, 3 more pop up. When you answer 3 questions, 10 more pop up, and so on and so forth. So that's what we're going to do here. A little bit more about me personally in the next course.